Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right, we are ready. Good evening. The July 14th Westfield Washington School Board of Trustee meeting is now in session. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're glad to see so many of you here in the summer. Since we have quorum, please join me to stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any public comment? Were there cards?
No comments.
Excellent. All right, thank you. I've just been told we do not have public comment cards submitted this evening for any agenda items, so I will skip over those rules and reminders and move now into the consent agenda, which includes the approval the consent agenda items include board minutes, accounts payable vouchers, payroll vouchers, and the personnel report. So all items in the consent agenda were distributed and reviewed by the board in advance of this meeting and are approved in a single motion. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And now we will move to business and operations. If I can get myself there. And the first item for business and operations is our construction update. So glad so many of our construction partners could join us this evening to provide updates on our projects. We'll first hear from Mr. Jack Waggle with Garmon Construction.
Good evening. Here to speak on Midland and Shamrock, so I'll do a quick overview here. The good news is, I don't want to jump to the end, but we got our last inspection today and passed, so the health department approved the kitchen. So the building now has temporary certificate of occupancy, health department, and substantial completion. So this was the building back in March of 26. As you can tell, that's when we were still very wet. Just trying to get the site cleaned up. I like showing these photos now. It almost looks like the rendering. These were taken last week with the drone. All the paving's done. The landscaping is 95%. As you can imagine, we're struggling with a little bit of grass growth this time of year, but that'll be addressed in the fall when conditions are better. Playgrounds are almost done. They were working on the last of the surface here recently. The signage is installed. You can see all the sidewalks. The gymnasium is done. That was one of the last pieces. The floor has been painted and sealed, and I think the bleachers were coming in this week. All the floor coverings in. This is the middle picture. There's the media center there in the open space. All the wall graphics are in, and really turned out to be a beautiful building. So really a lot going on there. As far as progress, completion, like I said, I won't bore you with all this, but we're 99% done. Punch list is about 90% complete. We're working with the team to check all those items off as we anticipate close out of the project. Like I mentioned, the health department was today. The owner, you guys have started moving in your furniture already. I think that started a couple weeks ago and is ongoing, and anticipating a first day of school for August 15th, which is my understanding got pushed back a little bit, but I think we're 17th. I'll have to have that corrected. But other than that, any questions on Midland? Like I said, there's just we're starting to take a deep breath.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And then the contingency update, about 1.1 million remaining there. So Shamrock is, as you well know, kind of a mirror image, and it's coming right behind. We are fast and furious over there. There is a lot of work going on. This was back in March there, really muddy site, still didn't have any paving in. We're working on building enclosure. This was last week, so about 50% of the asphalt in, all the north parking lots in. Curbs are going in right now on the east and south side, planning on paving, getting the rest of the binder down next week. All of the brick facade is in. About 50 or 60% of the metal panels are in. EFS is probably 60, 70%. So by the time I come back in a few months, the exterior enclosure should be in. All the windows are in. We've got temporary air conditioning currently. All the academic wings, so A, B, C, and D are all in finishes. So all the drywall finishes in, painting's in, ceramic tiles going in. This is the drywall finish there. They were actually priming that this week. That's where the big mural's going to go. So in reference to what you saw at Midland, really just like I said, a couple months behind, pushing for that's a December completion with anticipating moving in over the holiday break. So. Some of the stats, and then there was about 1.5 million contingency remaining on that project. So again, we've migrated some of our team from Midland over to Shamrock, so we've got that kind of the learning curve, and so folks know exactly what they're trying to accomplish, and they're headed that way. Any questions? All right. Appreciate your time this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, now we'll invite Mr. Jerry Rolfson from Performance Services to the podium.
Good evening. Happy to be here to give you an update on the progress of construction at Westfield Middle School and Cool Creek Elementary. We'll start with a little refresher. Just again, a reminder that we're phased on the project, and part of the work, majority of the work's happening over summer. So we have a lot of work happening this summer. The bold area is what we're focused on at Cool Creek Elementary School. And those will be the room assignments here in the fall that show you the grade level configuration. So where are we at with progress? So a common theme here amongst construction projects, obviously. In July, you're working hard to meet deadlines to make sure that you're able to occupy here things at the end of the month, beginning of next month, as you get close towards the first day of school. So you can see progress with kindergarten rooms. Those were the first rooms we started. They were the most extensive in terms of renovation. So those are the farthest along. You can see they're really very close to ready to move furniture into. As the furniture is received. This is a couple of photos of corridor work, kindergarten corridor, and then a second and third grade hallway. In classrooms, progress in the second and third hallways. So as you would imagine, things are sequenced, so you complete things kind of in stages, and you can see there's a variety of different finishes, but floor finishes are ongoing in that area, and again, close to being able to move furniture into that suite as well. A lot of site work going on the property, and it's mostly focused west and north and south this summer. And this gives you an idea of the progress of construction, moving the driveway to the west and connecting to Hoover Road, separating from the parking lot that is used for band practice. So that photograph was taken by drone on the 9th, and the photograph in the caption there was taken yesterday. So they've completed the concrete apron work at the connection to Hoover Street. Then as you get a little bit further to the south and closer to Cool Creek, then it shows you the progress of the area that will become the playground for Cool Creek. The kind of the dirt zone there that's remaining in the playground area is where the artificial turf will be, and then where the stone has been placed is where the actual playground equipment, and you can see all the equipment is staged there, and they've actually started unloading that, ready for installation beginning this week. This is a little bit further to the south then, and the buses will enter from the south and kind of wrap around to the bus parking zone just to the west of the gymnasium there, so that's what that lot configuration is. We're working our way from north to south, so you can see completion is kind of, it looks that way, right? That we're further along on the north side of the site. Then this is just another perspective from that north lot. That was taken again the drone photos were taken last Wednesday or Thursday the 9th, Wednesday the 9th? I think it was Wednesday the 9th. And then that is a photograph from yesterday. So all the asphalt work on that north side has been completed. It's been striped. It's actually going to be usable for the administrative retreat that's being held at Shamrock Station tomorrow. So that east side of the parking lot can be used for staff parking. We have roof work going on at both the middle school and the elementary school. The roof work is wrapping up, so there's just one section there still to be completed. The green areas are the areas completed. The yellow is in progress. The white areas don't need to be re-roofed because those are either more recent additions or had been re-roofed. So what you'll see mostly is edge metal work, roof edge work being completed over about the next 30 days or so. Middle school, the areas again in bold are what we're focused on for completion this year. There's some other work going on there. Called the Yellow Fall 2026 is actually an area that we're working in, but that doesn't complete until over the fall. A lot of flooring work and lighting work are happening now. You can see new flooring in the corridor there. That's north near the auxiliary gymnasium. And then you've got the theater area between the theater and the main gymnasium in progress. Other areas of the building, exceptional learners suite, flooring and lighting progress. Similar stages of completion, really wrapping up flooring. There's one set of toilets that are being rebuilt in the exceptional learners area, and that gentleman there is purging the wall, getting ready for wall finishes. Future sixth grade classrooms, that's the zone of the building that I indicated would be completed in the fall. Some rooms that are being rebuilt. The biggest portion of the work in that part of the building, of course, is gearing up ready for sixth graders for next year, but is bringing the air handlers that are impossible to service. And it's the first time I've been able to get a good photograph of the condition there, but the photograph on the right shows you why that is so difficult to work on. And what we're doing is bringing those to the ground. So those units will be eventually removed, but you can't do any service to them. They're completely concealed either by the ceiling, ductwork, piping, and conduits around the buildings, above the ceiling in the centers of those kind of pyramidal type roof areas currently. Then similar to Cool Creek, there's just one section of roofing that needs to be completed there in the south end. The remainder of the roofing work has been completed other than roof edge metal work that will be ongoing for about the next 30 days. So all of the work that we're working on, of course, is scheduled to be completed. Furniture deliveries are coming. Actually, some of the furniture has arrived already, but furniture deliveries will be received here at the end of the month. Mostly at Cool Creek, because those are the rooms that we'll be equipping with new furniture for the elementary students that will be moving into that building. So that happens at the end of the month. It's staged over about the first 10 days or so of the month, and then staff will be able to begin moving into those rooms at that time. I'll open it up for any questions from the board.
Actually out walking yesterday when my daughter was at tennis. The sidewalks that are around Cool Creek Elementary, are any of them getting adjusted for compliance for ADA accessibility, since some of them are much older?
We are doing a substantial amount of sidewalk work around the building. And are you talking about specifically at on the east side of the building?
So there's a older sidewalk that falls into Shamrock Boulevard, and I think I was told that it might be the city's obligation to paint the crosswalk, but when I was over there, there's just a couple of sidewalks that kind of like fall into grass, and there's not the the ribble or whatever, the dots that fall, on whatever that surface is. And so I
Yeah.
just didn't know, since we're redoing some
I-
construction over there,
Yeah,
what the
there's-
detail was.
There's a lot of work that happens next year on the northeast side of that site. So where the kind of
Roundabout
complicated
is.
intersection is, it's
Yeah,
really,
that's right where it is.
that's going to get cleaned up and everything will be corrected in that zone. If it's farther to the south, I think there might be one connection point maybe there that is kind of an odd connection point. I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see what we're doing on the plans. I don't recall
Okay.
that specific zone. I'll
I was
follow
just
up with
curious.
Dr. Atha for you on that.
Okay, thank you.
I do know, Jerry, that's, as you shown that, I think the important thing is when, at the end of summer 2027, the sidewalk and crossing and pedestrian pathways from the middle school to the tenant, that will all be cleaned up and clarified. But if there's things we need to do this summer with this year, just around that, we'll take a look at it. But ultimately, there will be a path all the way around
Correct.
both those campuses with clear crosswalks.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause I think,
Better intersections, if you will, for traffic.
yeah, 'cause I think since it's now gonna be an elementary, you're gonna have a lot of more kiddos walking to that school potentially that are starting to move to the downtown areas.
When do the playgrounds go in, or are they going okay?
The playground progress, from what we're told by the playground installer, begins tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes, so, and his duration is, I mean, he will need all the way up to the start of school to finish that work.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
All right, we appreciate your update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now we will invite our own Director of Construction, Brian Kelly, to the podium to share updates. Oh, and Mike with Hagerman, I apologize.
Is Mike?
Yeah.
is-
He
No,
is-
I'm reporting for
You're
Mike,
reporting for him?
and I
Okay,
am
you're just here in
shamelessly using
spirit.
his presentation that Mike prepared. Since I saw Mike's presentation, I'm like, well, thank you, you did my job, and I'm just going to use it. So, anyway, good evening, members of the board. Reporting on the work for both Hagerman Construction and Meyer Najum. Hagerman's presentation you can see in front of you, so let's start with that one. So some progress photos, and I'll apologize to Mike, I think there is a drone video that I couldn't figure out formatting on. So you can use that next board meeting. I'm technologically challenged, but I don't do well with those things. But aerial photos of, maybe last minute edition. I'll continue along, and if we can get that at the end, great. You can see the aerial photographs of the site, and this one obviously is looking to the north. So you can see the stadium field work that's been, I want to say, probably 75% complete as far as turf goes, getting ready for, as you probably recall, we've expedited the athletic field work for the high school teams that will be utilizing it in the spring. So Hagerman's done a great job kind of adjusting schedules and getting that work pushed forward, which you'll see more of. Looking to the east, you can kind of see the transportation facility and the large retention pond off in the distance there, but you can also see the baseball field turf kind of progressing along, doing the stone work and drainage work for the softball field just to the west of that. Again, site's progressing along very nicely on this. Looking southeast, in the same items you can see in completion. And looking to the north. Looking to the south. It's looking Centennial on the right and 32 just below the building. And that's looking to the west. So exterior-wise, roofing-wise, you can see the building's fairly far along. So a little bit better pictures of the site work that's being completed. Should have no problems talking with Mike and his team being ready for the spring athletic use from the high school teams. I believe this is our last, yes, okay, that was the last site picture. So now just more pictures of the building itself and various aspects of the building, some of the, what I call last portions, that courtyard shade going inside, getting installed. So obviously we're past just the bones of the building. Now we're starting to actually install some fixtures. And these are all labeled, you can read these: athletic common areas, ceiling work being installed, ceiling grid, drywall work, same thing in media. Similar to what Jake was showing you with Shamrock, they're kind of into that stage of the project where now it's finishes and flooring and all of the what I call the heavy stuff is done. So you'll see all the drywall, majority of it anyway, done. Block work's done, overhead MEP's done. Work in progress. Still have some lateral work for the geothermal piping. That's a large horizontal piping that brings the geothermal water back to the building. Finalizing, finishing up synthetic work on the fields. And then it's just continuing on with exterior work and interior work, as you can read there. Next 60 days, it's just more of the same, kind of finishing up all of that athletic work, site work, so we can get things done as we, unfortunately, after 60 days, we'll start to be looking at cold weather again. Hard to say that, but it is it's coming. So the big things on this that I typically point out: the CMC contingency utilization, 10%. Still doing extremely well on this project, an allowance of 20%. As you can see, of the $4 million on contingency, utilizing about 10% or $400,000 of that, and conversely on the allowance, slightly more. Project's going extremely well. So, this one's done as good as we could hope. Myron Agents projects. Last thing. Other events that are going on outside of the building. There's been a few additions to the packages or the construction project. Water and sewer main extensions from our property over to the Chance Farm. We've had some discussions with the owners of that property and are helping them out in return of the property that we need for passing blisters. So we're doing some work for them. We're getting in return the land that we need for the passing blisters. The reconstruction of Centennial Road, if you've been on it lately, it's pretty much a gravel road, which isn't unexpected with this type of work. We're going to be starting the road improvement on that very soon. And then the intersection at Centennial and State Road 32, which, as we know, is going to be a roundabout. We've got recent emails that we're very close with A&F Engineering on their finalization of the design. As soon as we get final comments back from INDOT, we can incorporate whatever there are, hopefully very minor, and then we can get Hagerman the design so we can get permits issued and issue the construction documents or the bids to get that work completed. So still on timeline to get that all completed prior to the start of school year. Any questions on the Hagerman project, the middle school project?
So Brian, will the roundabout costs be covered like through contingency dollars or as a change order?
Yes, and Greg and I have talked about that. That is the expectation. Obviously, we have to see the price of it to make sure we stay within the limits of what we're allowed to do, the 20% rule. But that is the expectation, yes.
And then were we able to get the drone footage
Oh, great.
before we move?
I'll let Beth handle that because we'll just stay out of the way. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much.
I've requested that be put to wrap, and that Mike do a kind of wrap along with that at one of the meetings. We'll see if that happens or not. I don't know.
Is the turf the same as the high school, or is it
It
the
is.
rubber?
It is.
It's the coconut filling?
On some of it, not all of it. So, and Fred Brazo can better answer the questions or the reasons behind that. So yes to some of that, no, not all of it. But yeah, Fred explained why he was doing what he was doing on that.
Who's Fred?
Fred Brazo, with context. So he's kind of our advisor that started us on the path of turf and what to do as far as the infill materials. So utilizing him as an advisor on
Okay.
what we want to do. He's kind of our expert on that. So, yeah, and I can get you a better answer from that from Fred. But
All right. And you had a
with
Meyer
Meyer Najum, I did not put together a presentation because of where we are on their two projects, right? As we know, transportation is complete. We've moved into transportation last week and a half. So there's really no change in the last time I showed pictures on that, other than a bunch of people moving in. They have started demolition this week, so as of Monday, yesterday, the demolition crews were at the existing transportation building. And in one day, they have completed the interior demolition. It goes very fast. And now they're just beginning parking lot demolition. So they're tearing up the portions of the parking lot that are getting completely replaced. Some portions of it will be milled and resurfaced. So that's in progress. The other project that they're working on is the high school project. And really at this point, they have strictly mobilized. So they've got their construction trailer set up. They've got construction dumpsters placed next to the MPIF at the high school. But beyond that, it hasn't done really any real work at the high school. So next meeting, I'll have a full presentation on where things stand with the high school project in Meyer Najum.
All right, excellent.
Any
Anybody have any
questions
other
on that?
questions? Thank you so much,
Thank you very much.
Brian. All right. We appreciate all of our construction partners coming and giving us an update. And now we will move to the next item on business and operations, which is the consideration for recommendation to approve the resolution adopting the provision of Indiana Code 5-23, which is the BOT statute. And we'll ask Dr. Craig Hunt to give us an update on that.
Thank you, President Ogle, members of the board. This evening, as part of your packet, you will find a resolution associated with Indiana Code 5-23. Just to give you a little bit of history, it's kind of a perfect timing as far as we just got finished with our construction reports. And just for history's sake, obviously the number of different ways in which we have procured or the delivery method of these particular projects. This evening's resolution includes an additional way that, again, we can procure through Indiana Code 5-23, which is open to political subdivisions, including school districts. And so this evening, I ask that the board approve that resolution for the BOT, or which is build, operate, and transfer, which again is Indiana Code 5-23. And so this resolution basically will adopt all the provisions that are included within Indiana Code 5-23, or that BOT agreement. And so I just wanted to reemphasize, this is not at all that we have solidified a project associated with the BOT. This allows the district to really look further to explore if this particular procurement method would fit with any particular public works or projects. So this evening I ask that the board approve the resolution as presented for Indiana Code, authorizing the provisions under Indiana Code 5-23, which again authorizes Westfield Washington Schools to utilize the build, operate, transfer procurement method.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution adopting the provisions of Indiana Code 5-23, authorizing Westfield Washington Schools to utilize build, operate, transfer procurement method. Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution adopting the provision of Indiana Code 5-23, authorizing Westfield Washington Schools to utilize build, operate, transfer procurement method. Is there any discussion or questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
And now we will turn it back over to Dr. Hunt to present on the Boyce Employee Hub platform.
Thank you again, President Ogle. Over the last year, work with our Finance Committee, which includes Rebecca Ogle as president and Bill Anderson. And through our discussions, there have obviously been some discussions about efficiencies within the district. And those efficiencies we look at because of our growth within the district, not only from a student standpoint, but also from a staff standpoint. And with those efficiencies, we, as a business department, human resource department, work within our schools with our bookkeepers or treasurers. We have really taken to heart those efficiencies and really taken a critical eye into the things that we can do. Efficiencies not only from a productivity standpoint, but efficiencies from a financial standpoint. And so this evening, ask that the board approve the Employee Hub, which is a platform through Boyce Cloud, which is our current financial system. And the return on the investment of this from a financial standpoint is extremely great, to the tune of about $17,000 of return on investment. So we're very excited about that. But the other part of this as well is the efficiency and the work productivity from our staff within the schools. Again, with the number of staff that we have, and also our business department, including especially our payroll department, this would benefit them greatly, especially in the lines of contracts and the way their contracts. We have 1,210 contracts that they are responsible for. And so this particular platform will allow us, again, to be more efficient and secure in those particular contracts. So this evening, I ask that the board approve the agreement with Boyce Cloud for the Employee Hub.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the implementation of the Boyce Cloud Employee Hub as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Carrie. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Boyce Cloud Employee Hub. Are there any questions or discussion? I do want to thank you for putting together the ROI savings in great detail. I think that's quite eye-opening and really makes this a
The
no-brainer.
amount of time that's spent on contracts right now
Right. Yeah.
is considerable. So yes, this will help immensely.
This is probably conservative considering
It
the
is
volume.
a conservative
Yeah,
estimate.
Yeah, of savings, yeah, but still 17,000 is fantastic, so thank you for that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Hunt, we'll come back to you one more time to approve the 2026-2027 food service meal fees.
Thank you again, President Ogle. This evening before you will find the pricing or the costs for meals for the 2026-2027 school year. Please note that breakfast K through 12 would be $1.70 per meal. Lunch K through 6 is $3.10, and lunch 7 through 12 will be $3.35. I do want to let the board know that we are going to be looking critically this next year, obviously with inflation costs, the cost of producing meals for our students is, we try to be as cognizant as we possibly can of our patrons, our students, obviously, and their families. But that is something that we need to take a critical eye at going forward, and we will be reviewing that through this next school year. So I anticipate, and again, I say this right now, but I do anticipate those cost of meals going up in the 27-28 school year. Now, the 26-27 school year is what's before you this evening, as again stated earlier, at those particular prices. Again, asking for your approval for those prices for the 26-27 school year.
Great, thank you, Dr. Hunt. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the proposed paid meal pricing for the 2026-2027 school year as presented. Thank you, Amber. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed paid meal pricing for the 2026-2027 school year. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Hunt. All right, you get a break. Next, we're going to move to curriculum, and we'll ask Dr. Hoover to start us off with the summer school item on the agenda.
Thank you, President Ogle. Members of the board, I wanted to give an update on a few things. The first one being summer school. Just a reminder, we have students in grades, in particular, we're going to talk about second and third grade today. These are students that did not pass the iRead assessment on their first, or in some cases, second try. We had 81 second graders attend, 47 third graders. Do those numbers, we had 13 teachers, 2 administrators, 5 assistants, and 1 student mentor. Just some updates on them. Our second graders, we strategically placed them in specific reading groups based off their needs and gaps. Teachers worked with them individually in small groups. One of the things about second grade, just a reminder, iRead used to be a third grade assessment only. In the last 2 years, they started offering it at second grade, but really the passing doesn't really take place till third grade. So in first year, students took it. If they did pass it, they don't have to pass it again in third grade. And then this year, it's ultimately moved to a second grade assessment, but we still call it a third grade iRead test. And we have approximately about 65% of our second graders pass it on their first try. So that's, that's where we're at, which is well above, of course, the state average. But, ultimately, we want to have 100% by the end of third grade is really what we're shooting for. Second graders also are only allowed to retest one time. So if they don't pass it in their first try in March, we retest them again in May. And if they still don't pass it then, we ask them to go to our summer school. We do specialized training with them. Then they'll have the opportunity to, of course, pass it again multiple times if necessary in third grade. So that's with, obviously about 1/3 or just less than 1/3 of our students. So that was second grade. Third grade, it is a little bit more sort of quote-unquote high stakes because that is the year that they really need to pass it before a potential retention could take place. As a reminder, it used to be where iRead was a baseline assessment for students' ability of third grade reading. It still is. Now it comes with more of a little more teeth to it, where students could be retained if they either, 1, don't pass it, or 2, don't have what's called a good cause exemption, which means either 1, they have an IEP, 2, they are an EL student who's been here less than 2 years, or 3, and this one sounds kind of odd, but if they actually pass iLearn Math for third grade, they actually will get a good cause exemption, with the logic being that if they are doing well in math but struggling a little bit in reading, they don't want to be held back, so they allow them to move forward, which kind of catches people off guard a little bit. The good news is we did have 14 students as third graders pass iRead this summer. 3 of those were at risk of not passing and promoted to fourth grade, at risk of retention, and they were promoted to fourth grade. We did have 22 students who did not pass again, but did grow their overall score by a 59 point average. We had 3 students grow over 100 scale points. Some of them still did not pass. Unfortunately, with an iLearn or an iRead type assessment, it is sort of there's a bar, and until you get to that bar, even if you grew by 100 points, you still might, if you miss it by 1 point, you don't hit that cut score. So we had some students make tremendous amount of growth, but just still fell just short of that line. But all in all, of all of our third grade students, we only had 5 students who would be retained in third grade as a result of not passing iRead and not be eligible for a good cause exemption. Of those 5, 1 of them is going through a summer evaluation for a special education IEP. So of our nearly 830 third graders, we only have 4 students that unfortunately, based on the current rules, would be in a retention status. And so we'll kind of work through that. Just a clarification on that, they will then be expected to take it and past. We haven't been to this yet because this is the first time that we've actually would be in a retention type situation. As you can imagine, I will just say, we are fortunate for the amazing students and teachers we have at this level. Some districts are dealing with multiple students that are having to stay in a certain grade level. You can imagine the trickle-down effect that causes with having to move teachers last minute, things like that. So this is just another way to celebrate our teachers and our students and our families. So just a little bit of update on summer school. But any questions on any of that information?
Yeah, so you said second graders can take it a second time, third graders multiple, so is that 3 times, 4 times?
So they can take it, they'll
As
take
many as
it.
they need?
Yeah, so what happens is they'll take it again next year in March as their normal test. They can take it again at the end of school, and then they can take it again in the summer. So they can actually take it 3 additional times, or 2 additional times plus the normal assessment. So ultimately, they're taking it 4, 5 times if they took every one of them. One of the questions that comes up is not to belabor this, but we have obviously, 2/3 to 3/4 of our students pass it in second grade. So when we get to third grade, our teachers in third grade organize those students so we don't basically try to highlight the students who didn't pass. We basically say, you're going to be taking the test, and we do something else with the other students that have already tested. So essentially, they're testing out of it in second grade. By next year, my opinion is it'll be a second grade. I mean, it really already is a second grade test. But
And did I hear you say 56% of our second graders pass?
65,
6?
yes. Which is like very, very good. But ultimately, our goal, 95% is the state goal. We want to be, quite honestly, at 100%. With our good cause exemptions, we do have students that despite their great efforts and stuff, they're dealing with some different cognitive challenges that might make it a little more difficult to pass, but ultimately, we want to have 100% of our students each year.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Dr. Hoover. Next, we will move to elementary school schedules and ask you to present on a consistent schedule across the elementaries.
Thank you again, President Ogle, members of the board. I have shared a little bit on this. Just want to give you a real quick update. We were able to share this a little bit with members during our curriculum meetings this year, but we have worked, our administrative team, our MTSS team has worked hard to create a consistent elementary K-5 schedule. Really, when I say consistent, please understand that means it's going to be a similar schedule when it comes to the parameters of the times. We're going to have same amount of minutes of language arts and math and science and social studies and related arts and so forth throughout the day for all schools. But what actually occurs during that time, we're going to still rely on our teachers and our assistants to, we are not going to tell them how to teach things. We're going to simply say, here's the parameters, because we want to make those things as consistent as possible. But by no means are we saying this is going to be what you're doing. It's going to be more there's the parameters that you're working within. We really want to provide a similar experience at all of our 8 elementary schools. And we've been building towards this over the last 2 to 3 years. We've asked our principals to really start kind of honing in, so they have started this work. This will not be much of a change. The only caveat to that is we really wanted to do it this year with our special education model changing and becoming much more inclusive and we're using a partner school method at each of our 8 elementaries. There are going to be more students that could potentially be moving from one school to another if they switch between partner schools. The more consistencies you have amongst all buildings, the better. And in just my experience also in a growing district, we will have families that do move across school boundaries, and so the more things that can be similar is better. But like I said, similar does not mean identical, so we want to make sure we keep that clear. And then also just, we were really happy with trying to provide some things. We were able to provide an extra win time, which is a dedicated time for math. That we did not have that in any elementary schedule. So that'll be an additional differentiated math time for all students. We were able to keep our related arts at 45 minutes, which was a huge push by our related arts teachers, and still keep 5 minutes of transition time within to let kids get to and from places. One of the things we talked about with the common schedule is our principals will have to be extremely diligent those first couple of weeks, kind of being, sort of keeping the trains running on time. What works with this schedule is teachers have to be respectful of each other when it's time for specials to get them there on time, and when it's time for specials to be over, related arts teachers have to release them on time. And then little things like lunchroom procedures, I need our principals to be watching to see when kids are coming and going. We have a lot of overlap to make this work, and so sometimes you gotta ask grade levels to go down a different hallway, maybe use a different restroom to just kind of clean up the building. But I'm really excited about all this. The final step, I felt like it was important to work with our WCTA, and we met with them again on Monday just to share the message. I got some great feedback from them. And then lastly, the thing I want all of you to know is that my experience, in my principal years was that never from one year to the next did the schedule stay exactly the same, but you got to start somewhere. And so we wanted to start with the baseline this year, but what will happen is once people get into it, the CTL leaders and teachers will give me great feedback, and we'll revisit that every year. Doesn't mean we'll always make wide-scale changes, but we'll make tweaks because they'll figure out ways to maximize it even better. But it's always just kind of good to start in a common place. So that's the goal. And we are just finishing up the Wednesday schedule. Wednesday's our late start. It crunches the numbers just a little bit more, so we had to get real creative on how we do some different things, but I will have that ready to send out by Friday to all the teachers. Any questions on the elementary schedule? I think I have one more.
New cell phone law implementation.
Thank you, President Ogle. Just a reminder, beginning 2026-27 school year, Indiana's new bell-to-bell cell phone law requires public schools to prohibit student use of personal wireless communication devices throughout the entire school day from first bell until dismissal. This law is intended to reduce distractions, improve student focus, support classroom learning. Preparation for implementation, Westfield Washington Schools has developed a staff frequently asked questions document to provide guidance and to ensure consistent implementation across the district. A couple other things I just wanted to share about this is Alicia Dennison held a meeting with her staff, an optional online meeting that was very helpful. I sat in on that just to kind of share with teachers, what that means, what some of the processes, what that's going to be. We have talked to many, many other school districts, really trying to just kind of hone in on, does anybody have any special areas that maybe we missed? Dr. Hunt actually sat in a couple of meetings that they were talking about. It's actually been pretty interesting, just some of the, I would say maybe unintended consequences that come with all changes. For example, things like Meta glasses, other smartwatches, things that maybe we're not as, it's not a cell phone only, it's a communicative device. And so we really have tried to think through some different things. As far as school day, that, right now we're gonna write that in as including passing periods and lunch. We are also having to work through a few things where we haven't had it yet, but some school districts are dealing with families that are maybe creating 504 plans, special education plans for specific, to kind of take away some restrictions. We're trying to handle those individually. Obviously, if a child does need that resource, we will work with them, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're being diligent to the bill. So we are in the process of, we didn't want to bring this into you until the next board meeting for to put in our policy, just because we're kind of cleaning up those last minute things. But I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that we are moving forward with this and best we can with the information we have to date. I can't anticipate what, there are going to be probably some unforeseen things that we have not thought through that we will just need to work through as we go forward. One of the things we're really trying to do is I don't want to, we don't want to quote unquote deputize our teachers to have to be the phone police on a daily basis. We want them to be educators, and this will be just another policy that we have in place. So although it will be new, we feel confident that we're out in front of it. And right now is really communicating that best we can to our families, to our students. This is a K through 12. We're not too worried, quite honestly, about our K-5 students. 6 through 8, we will have a policy there as well. K through 5 is obviously a little bit more easier to manage, but ultimately, the plan is going to be that students will simply keep their devices stored away in a locked area and kind of go from there. Any questions about that policy or just any of our plans for that policy?
When I was looking over it, I was just a little surprised that it even mentioned teachers are supposed to have their devices put away in some of those situations, because I know, everyone's focusing on the students, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be difficult for adults
Sure.
and checking in. I know we requested or were discussing within their Chromebooks, maybe a talking points app. So say there's a situation at a school and we're locking down.
Correct.
How are the kiddos then allowed to communicate to parents? Is there going to be a messaging system that they
Sure.
can use, or?
Great question. We actually met this morning. I met with Alicia and Erica, her assistant principal, and several of their teachers. We're talking about so from a communication standpoint, utilizing whether it would be talking points. We are actually meeting with a company next week that has a different, it's a different communication system. Quite honestly, many other schools use it. I would say, I'm going to use the word better, I would say maybe it has other capabilities than maybe the one we have now. It's called Parent Square. Quite honestly, I've seen it from a parent standpoint, and it's able to text and email immediately at all times. So really, it could be a very quick and easy system that we would do. But we need to do our due diligence on that before we just start doing. But that would be the main area that we would address that with. I am still working through those emergency type situations because, ultimately, we are going to have those things, we're going to have a situation where students will not have access to them. And so even in those situations, they probably may not be able to access them immediately. So we want to have a system that would notify parents of safety and of information. And that has to be, we are quite honestly in the middle of that process now.
So can I ask a silly question, maybe?
Sure.
So if there was a situation and the high schoolers had their phones stowed in backpack, turned off, wouldn't we, in that situation, wouldn't the world be A-okay with them turning on their devices to communicate to their parents?
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to read the exception in the law that I have up. Said, an emergency defined and authorized by the superintendent or the superintendent's designee as appropriate at the appropriate time, or an emergency as determined by the superintendent or the designee. So I believe in the law, and what we have heard from our counsel who advised us on this is they've put in there local control for us to define what that emergency may be. So obviously, in a school safety issue, we would say that. And I, if you read through, I think the high schools are going to have them in their classroom off and stowed in whatever they determine. I do know from a school safety standpoint, in a crisis, what we have been told by the experts is students being able to communicate with their parents reduces the anxiety of everyone, especially the parents on the outside. And many times, the first responders say as parents try to get to their kiddos, when kiddos start texting, you can almost see physically parents relax, right, if they hear from their kiddos. So I do think we need to figure this out. What's the best way to manage that? Because in the middle school, they do have lockers, and so theirs may be in their locker, often in their locker, and at the high school, though, we don't utilize lockers for everyone, so it's going to be different.
Yeah. And at the high school, it's still going to be no cell phones in the hallways or lunch periods and all those places?
Yeah, so, yes, the current policy, what they've done is just adapted it, and that, the two big changes are, well, three, really. It adds Meta and other smart glasses, so those would be like this that have capabilities of communication. The second part, it talks about they added including passing periods and lunch. So And then the third part talks about what Dr. Atha was referring to as an event of emergency, and it goes into that language. So we currently have that in our policy, but the updated one is what we'll be bringing to you guys in the 28th.
I'm not even in high school, and that gives me anxiety, not knowing I'll be able to find my friends for lunch.
So I
There's not just
anticipate-
one cafeteria. How are they going to find their
I'm
friends?
going to jump in here and anticipate, I don't think we're going to be adopting changing our policy. I think our policy is sound based on the law. What we're going to do is either develop administrative guidelines or put it in our handbook. Now, once this board approves the student handbook, it is basically policy, right?
Yeah.
So what I think we need to do is to update our student handbooks that we've already approved to outline how, which is more of an administrative guidelines, how we're handling the policy in real time, which we wouldn't put in the policy. We adopted a policy that said students must have the device stored away and powered off. You either have to say the law says you either have to leave them at home, or if they come with you to school, they have to be stowed away and off. The guidance from the DOE said it's a local decision to define what stowed away and off means during the school day. So that's what handbook and the principals are working on with Dr. Hoover.
The meta glasses, you brought those up a couple times, and I know you said they were going to be in the draft policy coming to us.
Yeah, they are in our policy. We adopted that. We put that in. We adopted a policy in May, and it has those in the policy. So we just need to make sure it's in our handbook as well.
And I think it might be helpful to just call those out in item 14 on your FAQ, along with the earbuds and smartwatches.
Yep.
So that it's
Yep.
consistent across all the communications.
Sure, we can do that for sure. Any other questions, though?
Any other items for curriculum? All right, next we will move to policy updates and turn it back to Dr. Hoover to give us 2 policy updates.
Let me pull these up. Thank you, President Ogle, members of the board. We do have 2 policies, just a little background information. D100 is being updated to reflect the grade reconfiguration in the district. And then D300 was updated to include drug and alcohol testing for employees who operate district vehicles and equipment who are not CDL or safety sensitive. Updates to personnel contracts have also been made in the policy. Since there are no significant changes being made to these policies, the administration recommends approval of these policy updates on first read as presented.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hoover. I'm not opposed to calling for a motion on a first read for these 2 policies. So I will entertain a motion to approve the draft revision D100 district organization and D300 controlled substance and alcohol testing for CDL as presented. Is there a motion?
Were you calling for an approval?
This is a first read. There's no.
But he did ask if we would approve it on a first read, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I will ask for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second? Thank you, Amber. It's been moved and seconded to approve on first reading the D100 district organization and D300 control substance and alcohol testing for CDL policies as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. All right, at this time, those are all the items on our agenda. We will ask board members and the superintendents to share their success stories.
I can just start with updates for the foundation, not necessarily a success story, but just a friendly reminder, Stuff the Bus locations are up and running, so all of our local banks within the city are helping us collect back-to-school items, so make sure you stop by and donate. The next big event is Rock the Block at the high school for all Westfield students, August 10th at the high school from 5 to 7:30. It's super fun. Bring the whole family. And yeah, it's July. Go Rocks.
Yeah, it will be at the middle school. So I think in the newly redone parking lot, or the parking areas, that we saw this evening is where we're gonna hold it. Yep, so. Like or Brian's shaking his head. Yeah, and inside, there'll be some inside.
Okay.
Okay, at the north side of the middle school, parking spaces. And the athletic entrance.
And it is on a Monday this year because the students start on a Monday, and so it's the day before our teachers officially come back is when we're doing it. I want to, in here, and just a shout out to Carly Miller, a teacher at Monon Trail Elementary. She received a 2026 Lilly Endowment Teacher Creativity Fellowship, which is awesome. We've had, over the years, had teachers receive that fellowship and that funding, and so we're excited to hear more about that as she works through that. Usually they share with us what they learned from that experience.
I'd like to mention we had some folks participate in the annual Indiana Football Coaches Association North-South All-Star Game. We had Coach Ryan Sosinski, we had Alex Aramboles, and Jadion Smith, and then Emma Bertrand, I believe, was one of the student managers there as well.
Yep.
So that was pretty exciting.
And they won. Nice.
I should also probably, are you gonna mention that one?
Are you going to mention the FFA doing such
No,
a
you
great
did
job?
it. You
Okay.
did it.
The FFA, the high school FFA chapter, went to the convention and made us all proud. They had a degree recipient as well as 2 of the district officers. So great job to them. Hats off.
Yeah, and I happened to, as a parent, be at the Forum Foundation Credit Union scholarship night, and just didn't know this, but Nikki Heflin also got a grant from the Forum Credit Union Foundation. So Nikki received that, and my son Jaden, who's a 26 graduate, received a scholarship, and they recognized those kiddos throughout central Indiana and several teachers that Nikki was a part of. So that was nice, and look forward to hearing about her putting those dollars to use. She's partnering with our Education Foundation, and that obviously as she expands on the culinary arts programming and providing opportunities for kids in our elementary schools as well with our gardens and so forth and the equipment. She obviously has done a great job with that. So congratulations to Nikki Heflin.
Dr. Etha and President Vogel, I do have, if you would like this as a celebration, I have the capstone and SAT and PSAT data. If you would like me just to share that.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait until next month.
Yeah, I was going to share it on the
Excellent.
28th, but I can share it as a celebration and do more of a summary on it. So just basically, this is our SAT 2026. More than 3/4 of our students met the reading and writing college readiness benchmark. Over half met the mathematics benchmark. And majority of students demonstrated growth from PSAT to SAT. Key results, kind of highlights, 76.3% of our students met or exceeded the reading and writing benchmark. 52.3 students met or exceeded the math benchmark. 50.7% of students met both SAT college readiness benchmarks, the highest level achieved in the past 3 years. 77.9% of students improved their reading and writing score from PSAT to SAT, and 80.6% of students improved their math score from PSAT to SAT. Probably the most overarching data that was most important, data showed encouraging long-term trends since spring of 2024. The percentage of students meeting the mathematics benchmark has increased from 47% to 53%, and the percentage of students meeting both benchmarks has risen from 46 to 51. So we are definitely trending in the right direction. This is our advanced coursework continues, so honors algebra 2, honors pre-calculus, AP stats, AP calculus, consistently meeting or exceeding college readiness benchmarks. So we feel really good about where we're at with our high school, and this, we obviously, as always, have some areas. Math still remains our greatest opportunity for growth and improvement, but we are definitely trending in the right direction and scoring more students that are succeeding and more students that are growing. So we absolutely believe a key area for us to take that next big jump is that geometry and trigonometry, sort of that transition from middle school to high school. We really want to, and really I'd even throw algebra in there, continuing to make that jump. And as a reminder, last year we spent a year with our middle school and high school teachers doing that work, so we're really hoping that this year we're going to start to see that start to come into fruition. So all positive things being going on at the high school.
Fantastic.
How many kiddos got the capstone?
So we didn't, the capstone information we didn't get last year. I was just looking up, and
Yeah.
well, in August 23rd of 24, and about a similar time, August. So I don't think we'll receive all that till August.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
and also we are hearing, because obviously we've been wanting to share 3 through 8 iLearn data with you. As a reminder, because of the change in the adjustment to the assessment, they had to renorm it again, and we are hearing, we heard August and September, we're now hearing October, which is frustrating because obviously we want to set a lot of our goals and different things, even though it's a different cohort of students. It gives our teachers a pretty good idea of what things students do really well on, and what things they need to continue work. The positive, or the silver lining, is after we do receive those results, we'll be able to share those with you quickly. It'll be a quick turnaround, but then this upcoming year in April, May, those results will be like IRE, where they're within 24 hours. So we'll actually get 2 sets of scores this year. We'll get last year's results, which will be informative and important, but really we'll be focusing more on than the spring 27 results. Those, though, we'll be able to report within a week or 2 after assessments.
Thank you for that. Anyone else want to share? All right, I will announce that our next regular board meeting will be held August 11th at 6:30 here in this room. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Amber. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carrie. Motion